Hi, I'm Joel.
And I'm Leah, and today's video is all about tipping culture in the UK in comparison to tipping culture in the US.
I have just answered a comment on this on the way here this morning.
Okay.
Someone was like, "Do you not tip in the UK? That's rude," or something ridiculous like that.
Was that on Instagram?
No, it was on YouTube. So, funnily enough, today we're doing a video about it.
Okay, where do I begin? I can begin with personal experience.
Yeah.
So, going out for dinners with boyfriends or friends. I talk about it like
Joel.
I've had loads of
boyfriends.
No, I've had 2 in my life, and what I can say is that often people all kind of have the same attitude to tipping.
Mm-hmm.
Is the tip included? If it is, not going to leave any more.
No.
Maybe a couple of quid.
Yeah.
But usually not.
Yeah. I'd say paying 10% is generous. And that's kind of the guideline that you have. But the reason it's not as big a thing here as it is in the US is because waiters here in the UK get paid more than waiters in the US. So their salary here, their wages are, that's their living. They can make a living off of their wages.
Yes.
So tipping is just a bonus. Whereas I know in the US, they rely on tips for their income.
Yeah. And also I did have a boyfriend once who said, I feel like tipping is a way of sort of going like, oh, I know your job's pretty shit, so like, and I kind of agree with that. It's like going like, yeah, your job is shit, so here's some more money.
It's like putting yourself on another level, like a pedestal, being like, here's some money because I know you need it.
Yeah. I don't like it. I don't like what it says. No. I think if you've had excellent service, then yeah, why not tip? If you can afford to tip and the service has been great and they've gone above and beyond, then yeah, tip. But if they're just doing what they do and they're getting paid to do that and they've chosen that, then just pay the bill as it comes. They already put like 12.5% on top in London. Yeah. And so I pay the tip that they've put on the bill, and often I say, oh, is this tip going to you or is it just going to the restaurant, to this company? And they say, oh, it just goes into a big pot and then it gets divvied up. And I say, okay, cool.
Yeah, I know my parents sometimes ask that same question.
Sorry.
And if they say, oh, it sort of goes to the company and then they dish it out, my parents will ask to get the tip taken off because it is always optional. You'll notice on the receipt it says an optional tip has been added of 12.5%.
Yeah.
So then my parents will tip them directly. But I don't tip very often. Like if I've gone out for a meal and I've had multiple courses, then I might. But if I've gone for a coffee or just some breakfast, like very rarely will I ever tip.
I heard, when my brother was working out in Portland, Oregon, he said I couldn't really go for like coffees and stuff without the expectation of the tip and stuff. Yeah. So by the time we've had a coffee and a little snack, it's probably going to be over $10.
Yeah.
Just to sit there and have the coffee.
Yeah.
Which is mental.
Yeah.
That's absolutely mental.
Definitely. And it's up to the restaurants. They should be paying a good wage, in my opinion. Yeah. They should be paying a good enough wage that we shouldn't have to tip.
Yeah. Definitely.
Like, that shouldn't be this expected thing where customers are expected to give more money than actually they have to.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? It's just a weird system.
I think also it just totally depends on like your situation financially.
Yeah. And
whether it's something you can do without feeling the burn.
Because I would love, don't you have like fancies where you're like, I'd love just to be able to get out a £50 note and be like, there you go.
We'd go on family holidays when we were younger, and I remember holidays where my dad would know that he had to be out and about from the hotel like all day at the bank doing this, doing meetings and stuff like that. And he would tip like people that worked in that hotel really generous amounts before to say like, please look after my kids because I'm going to be out and about all day. And me and my brother would always wonder like why we'd come down for breakfast and it would be so late. It would be like midday and they'd be like, anything you want, Nutella pancakes, and we'd just be like, why? And Nutella pancakes. And it turns out that like dad had tipped all of them before
to make sure you get a good experience
rather than tipping them after. Dad's always like, no, you tip before so you get good. And I'm just like, yeah, but then they expect it at the end. And he's like, yeah, and then if they've done a good job, you tip them at the end as well. And I was like, it's okay for you because you've got the money to do that, but like I can't.
Yeah. So, yeah, and that's where me not tipping comes from, I think. It's just because I'm like, I literally can't afford to pay any more than I have to.
Yeah. If the coffee's $3.80, like I'm not going to tip you as well.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. I read a story in Amy Schumer's book, and she was talking about how she was in a theatre. I can't remember if she was in a London theatre or a theatre out in LA or somewhere, in New York rather. And she tipped a bartender. She tipped a bartender about $100, and it ended up making like news like the next day. And she was thinking, why? Surely loads of celebrities like tip bartenders in the theatre. And I think she said to them like, oh, I used to do this kind of job, so like hit $100, like what? It was nothing to her. And she couldn't believe in her book that had made the news.
It's crazy, isn't it?
Why should that be a big deal? Like,
I
think the idea of celebrity tipping is quite exciting.
Yeah, definitely. Well, I used to work in a theatre, and celebrities, I know the people that worked on the bar would often get tipped. Like Ian McKellen tipped one of my colleagues as well. Like quite a generous amount, I think. I got tipped nicely by an American. That was nice, but not a celebrity.
Remember, tell them what happened. That was so funny.
So basically, I used to work in the evenings in the theatre as an usher, but I also used to work in the daytime in the foyer with the box office, just like being there as security or just manning it, making sure no one's going into the building. It's just the box office that's open. And anyway, this American man came and asked me for directions, and I was helping him where to go. And then he was like, can I use your toilet? And we're supposed to be like, no, you can't, because the building's closed. But because I'd been speaking to him and it was really nice, I was like, yeah, go on then, you're not supposed to be, it's just down the stairs. So then he went to the toilet, and then he came back up and then shook my hand, which hopefully he washed his hands first. But when he shook my hand, and there was a £20 note in there, which is very generous. Like, if I was gonna be tipped, I would say like a few quid. But that was £20 note. And then I went, did the classic British thing going, no, it's fine. And he walked off, he was like, no. And then walked out the building. And I was like, oh my God. And it literally made my day.
That's so nice.
It is nice, isn't it? Americans are a lot more generous because of their culture of tipping.
I don't know if I want to tell this story. I think I might have told it to you. I was doing a flyering job, and I was flyering for a club. I'm not proud of what the club stand for, but basically it was a club
for men.
It was like a gentleman's club, so it was like an after hours thing. And I did not work there, but I was just handing out flyers for cash. It was like, £10 an hour just to hand out these flyers. And a guy came, who I was flyering, was like, oh God, sorry, you just really remind me of my daughter, and this is just heartbreaking that you're handing out flyers like for a strip club, basically. And then he just gave me a £50 note. That was my first shift flying for this awful strip club in London. And it was so tacky. It was really disgusting, and I had to lie about my age to get the job. Like, I met them and I was like, I just need some cash in hand work. I just need some money. And they were just paying us in cash to go out and flyer. And some gentleman was like, no, I'm not having you do this. You remind me of my daughter. And I was
That's so nice.
Thanks.
So from then on, you're like, anyone? Do I remind you of anyone?
Do I remind you of anyone? Yeah, but tipping in restaurants and stuff is rare here. I don't know how many people really do it. In our age group.
In our age bracket, I don't think my parents do. Like, every time they go out, my mum's always like making sure that they're tipping, and my dad's like, Debbie, stop giving away so much money. And my mum's like, no. But our age group, I don't think we tip as much.
No. Like, maybe if the bill's like 26, like, they'll leave 30, or like 28, you'll leave 30. You don't really sort of take the coins.
No.
But if they bring back like notes, take it. Or now, because of contactless, because of using debit cards everywhere, you just end up saying, oh, can you put £10 on this one, £10 on this one? Or if it's an awkward amount, you're like, if my amount is, can you put £8.25? I'll just be like, put £9 on here.
Definitely.
And you just forget about the rest.
Can I just say the most awkward thing is where they've got the machine though, and it says, do you want to add gratuity? And you've got to, in front of them, click like, yes or no, and I'm like, no. And then like,
it's awful.
And then do my card thing, and it's just so awkward doing it in front of them.
They're like, do you want to add, how do you say that word?
Gratuity.
That's great. They always, it could just say, do you want a tip?
Yeah, but it says gratuity.
Do you want to add gratuity?
But yeah, so if you're coming to the UK, don't get too obsessed with, oh, do I need to tip or do I not need to tip? Because ultimately, we don't take it that seriously here in the UK.
No one's expecting it that much.
I know in America, it is a much bigger thing. When we go to America, like, we're very sure that we're going to tip, 15, 20% or more.
Really?
Just because we don't want to offend them, because that's that culture. But here in the UK, no one is going to say anything or be offended if you don't tip them in a restaurant, because they get paid enough anyway to begin with.
Yeah, absolutely. Completely agree. And there are other cultures as well where tipping is absolutely not encouraged. Yeah. In Japanese culture, they say, if you go into any like proper Japanese restaurant in London, they're like, no tips whatsoever. we'll just give them to charity or something, or like we would just.
Because it can be quite offensive.
It's offensive.
In some cultures.
This is the price of the food. This is how much it is.
Yeah.
Pay that amount, no more, no less.
Yeah.
And I love that.
Yeah.
I love it. It's because it
Takes
just
away all
takes
pressure.
away all pressure. You're just like,
Yeah.
great. Can't you just price the food at what it's supposed to be then?
Yeah.
Or pay your staff what they are deserved.
Yeah, that's what I mean. It should be the company's responsibility, not the customers.
Exactly.
So there we
guys,
are. If we ruled the country or the world, it would be so much better than it is.
Yeah. We hope you've enjoyed this video. We hope it's been helpful in some way. We hope you don't think we're all stingy Brits, because we're really not. You know, if it was part of the culture, of course we'd all do it because we'd all comply. And we'd all be like, oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
But it's just not. So, yeah, let us know in the comments what tipping's like where you're from.
Yeah, and don't forget to follow us on our social media. We are at Joel and Lia on everything.
All platforms.
All platforms.
Instagram, Twitter, Facebook.
Everything. We do regular Instagram stories on both our personal accounts and our joint account, so go follow us over there.
Okay, guys, see you next time.
See you soon.
Bye.
Bye.